Now, the table is always hot with current events and social issues, but sometimes the heat can get a little intense. Let's turn the temp down, take a breather, and get into this week's topic cooldown. Andre, what do you have for us this week?
Well, Daquon, I wanted to ask you, have you ever made what you thought was a wrong choice, but it turned out to be the right choice?
Mm, no.
Next question.
Question. That's a question. I'm always right, and I always know that I'm right because I'm a Capricorn. But no, seriously, um, yes, there have been instances in my life where I have made a decision, was like, oh, maybe this is the wrong decision, but it really turned out to be for the best. I think one of them was college in general. I, I enjoyed my college time so much, but I thought that, you know, maybe my school isn't actually the school for me, especially
Mm,
when I first got there, because I suffered from what's it called? Big fish, little pond, or little
mm.
fish, big pond syndrome, where it was like at my high school, I was it. I was the person. I knew what I needed to do. I did what I needed to do. And like I achieved well. But then when you go to a school where everybody achieved well, you
Mhm.
start to realize that and feel like, am I inadequate? Is this not what I was supposed to do? Should I have gone to a different school where I would have done something different and maybe had
Like
an
a
easier time?
syndrome?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
exactly that. And so at the moment, I thought it was the wrong decision.
Mhm.
But as I, stuck with it, I realized that this was the decision that I needed to make. It was the right decision. I met so many great people. I had so many great opportunities and experiences that I wouldn't have had elsewhere. And I really got a world class education. I mean, even thinking about majors, I remember trying to think about what major I wanted to do. First, I was like, okay, I'm going to be African American Studies and Political Science. Then I was like, no, I'm going to be AFAM and creative writing. And went through so many different decisions on what my final major would be. And I ended up just finalizing on African American Studies
Mhm.
because that was the through line of what I wanted to study and what I loved studying. And of course, when you choose a major that isn't exactly lucrative, you always have those thoughts of, did I make a wrong choice?
Yeah.
But I realized not only did I love what I was studying, but I knew that if I just forced myself into any other major, A, I wouldn't have done as well. B, I would have hated my time there. And
Mhm.
C, it wouldn't have really made a difference because even like after going out into the real world and searching for jobs, it was like, dang, maybe I should have done like business so I can easy time getting a job. But like, girl, could you imagine me as a business major? I would be sickening. Don't get me wrong, but because that's just who I am. But
I would be sickening, but
like I would, but it wouldn't have been me. So there have been plenty of times where I have thought, okay, maybe this was the wrong decision.
Mhm.
But I think that so often you have to just trust the process.
Yeah.
Over time, you will realize that even all of those doubts that I had in the past are gone. They don't matter because I did what I needed to do. And that's something you have to think about a lot in life.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, it was letting go of a friend that I had when I was in college. We were really close at one point, so close that we even considered living together.
Mhm.
She'd recently moved out on her own, and she rented like a 2-bedroom apartment. And we agreed that when I graduated a few months later, that I'd move into that second bedroom, and in those following months when my family had fallen on hard times, she and I went through a particularly rough patch in our friendship because when I needed her to be there for me emotionally, she didn't provide a space for me in the same way that I had for her in the past. Not to mention that in the time, she had also told me that she'd reconsidered me moving in with her and decided against it after we'd already made plans for me to make that happen. So it's safe to say that after that and the lack of, emotional support from her, I decided to end the friendship because I just felt like I was more invested in it than she was. Now, time went on. I moved out on my own, lived some life, and decided to reach back out to her. I thought that, when I thought back to how our friendship ended, the words we exchanged, I thought that maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was just, in a bad place at the time. And our friendship was, a casualty of that difficult time. So I got her phone number from one of my other friends and we called each other, apologized to one another. And I thought that maybe we could have, rekindled our friendship. But as we talked on the phone that night, it turned out that she hadn't changed in that long stretch of time that we were apart. But I did. I was not the same person I was when we were friends. And we ended that conversation, with the false promises of, girl, we'll keep in touch. Girl, I'll call you tomorrow. Da, 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 da. But since that night, we haven't spoken to each other since. Even though at the time I thought that losing her as a friend was the wrong choice. It turned out that the situation I went through during that difficult time with my family just happened to also reveal who she actually was to me so that I could see that our friendship was actually a very unhealthy dynamic. The two of us not being friends turned out to be the best choice I could have made for our relationship. We had our time, and it came to an end. And just because she wasn't a good friend to me doesn't mean that she was a bad person. I just had to make peace with the fact that we just didn't fit into each other's lives anymore. And I had to be okay with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get that. And I think thinking about friendships is so interesting in this conversation because you never realize how much friendships can change and people can change or stay the same.
Yeah.
I I remember specifically having this friend in college where, we at a time were like a dynamic duo. We would always eat together, we would always go out together, we would have all different types of fun. And it was like we were practically inseparable.
Mhm.
But then we had a moment where we had a falling out and we stopped talking to each other because of certain things that happened. I
Mhm.
won't get into it, but like things happen and I had that idea of my in my mind of like, okay, was I taking this situation too seriously? Should I
Mhm.
just like forget it and move on and yada yada yada?
Yeah.
And I did that. And what happened was we ended up becoming friends again. And once again, we would be buddy buddy for a little bit, have another falling out, stop talking to each other. It just became this cycle and it got worse and worse and worse to
Yeah.
the point to where they were trying to turn my friends against me and make them pick sides and bring
Mm.
all different types of people into a situation that had nothing to do with them and just paint me out to be this bully and this mean person when in reality like that is not who I am. And so I finally made the decision to where it's like, okay, I can get over little petty dramas and stuff like that, but when you come for my character, when
Yeah.
you mischaracterize who I am as a person, that is when I draw the line. It is like no more. And frankly, after deciding that, my life has been so much more drama free in terms of department.
There's a light in
There's just I seen
I
a
can
light.
breathe.
My life has just been so expanded, and but in reality, there is so many decisions that you have to make in life, and you always wonder if you made the right decision, but you go down the path that you're meant to go down. There is so many different life lessons. There are so many times when you needed to meet a certain people. I know when I transferred to the high school I graduated to, I was like, maybe this ain't for me. Like I was like, I had this friend group that I was comfortable with. I had
Mhm.
like my role, had my squad XYZ. I knew how to do things pretty easy. It was, and then going to that school, there was some challenges. There was
Mhm.
a lot of people that like I didn't know, and so it was like, all right, so now I have to find a whole new friend group in the
Yeah.
middle of high school, and so many things like that. But I know that was the right decision, because if I didn't go to that school, I wouldn't have met you. We wouldn't be doing this podcast. So it's like
Everything
at
happens for a reason. This is what
everything
I want to
happens for a
say.
reason. So it's like I said before,
Yeah,
sometimes you just have to trust the process and let life show you why you were right.
exactly. Now, so many children grow up never knowing the full scope of what their culture has contributed to society and history. So it's time for a change. Let's take a pause, rewind, and remind the world just how we did that. In an article on Black Past, we learned that although many 21st century readers are aware of his work only through his introduction to Frederick Douglass's My Bondage and My Freedom, Dr. James McCoon Smith was one of the most broadly accomplished Black intellectuals and activists in antebellum America. Born in New York on April 18th, 1813, to a mother who purchased her own freedom and a father who may have been a freed slave or a white merchant, Smith attended the African Free School in New York City, where at the age of 11, he was chosen to give an address to the Marquis de Lafayette in 1824. Upon graduation from the African Free School, James McCoon Smith sought but was denied admission to several American colleges. He then managed to raise money to attend the University of Glasgow in Scotland, where, after completing his bachelor's and master's degrees, he completed a medical degree in 1837. Thus, he became, as far as can be determined, the first African American to be awarded a degree in medicine. After completing a medical internship in Paris, France, he returned to New York City where he opened a medical office and a pharmacy that attracted interracial clientele on West Broadway. While in Scotland, Smith joined the Glasgow Emancipation Society, an organization that helped to fund his education. After returning to New York City, Smith quickly emerged as a powerful anti slavery and anti racism organizer, orator, and writer. In 1863, he moved to Ohio to accept a position as a professor of anthropology at Wilberforce College. James McCoon Smith died of heart disease at the age of 52 on November 17th, 1865. He was survived by a wife and 5 children. Come on, Black first.
We love a black first,
And speaking of,
right? Also, in an article from Black Past, we learned that Simone Ariane Biles is an American artistic gymnast. She is a 3-time world all around champion, 3-time world floor champion, 4-time U.S. national all around champion, and a member of the gold medal winning American teams at the 2014 and 2015 World Artistic Gymnastics Championships. Biles is also a 2016 Olympic individual all-around vault and floor gold medalist. She was part of the gold medal winning team at the 2016 Summer Olympics in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and also won a bronze medal in the balance beam during those games. Biles began competing as a gymnast in 2007. In 2013, Biles was an all-around winner at the P&G Championships, and later that year, she became the first female African American athlete to win gold all around in the World Gymnastics
Speaking
Championship.
of first, I'm sorry.
Period. We love a black first. In 2014, Biles took the US and world titles in the all around competition, winning gold in the vault, floor exercise, balance beam, and all around at the Secret US Classic that same year. In 2015, Biles became the first female to win her third consecutive world all around title, giving her a record 10 gold medals in international competition. The following year, she earned a spot on the 2016 Olympic team with fellow gymnasts, calling themselves the Final Five. Biles led the team, winning 4 gold medals and 1 bronze medal in the Olympic Games in Rio. Biles won the 4 gold medals in team, all around, vault, and floor exercise, and a bronze medal in the balance beam. With those medals, Biles joined only 3 other gymnasts who had won multiple gold medals in the Olympic Games. The many Olympic and World Championships medals won by 4'8", 104-pound 19-year-old Biles by the year 2016 have made her the most decorated gymnast in U.S. history.
Period, bitch. Period. Simone said, "I am that girl." That's what Beyonce based a song off of.
And she's still killing it.
She is still killing it. That's why I was like, speaking of black first, Simone Biles, black first, baby. That right
black
there.
Women.
Black women, black people, Daquon, black people in general, bitch. We constantly rise in the fucking bar, bitch.
We eat it up every time.
Girl. Now, as always, thank you all so much for watching, and keep the conversation going down in the comment box below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and if you are listening to us on our podcast, please rate and review on whatever platform you're using. You can also follow our podcast on Instagram and TikTok at the Melanin Margin for updates of new content.
And if you'd like to follow each of us, our handles are at Daquon MUE
and at Andre Talks It Out, baby.
Now we will see you all next time on the Melanin Margin, where our goal is always to bring the marginalized to the spotlight in any way we can. Goodbye now.